Hello. So in this video, we'll be implementing support for hard-coded time-based cache invalidation. So the set command also features a flag px, which we read about in the last stage, and it's followed by the number of milliseconds after which my value should expire. Let's just read what they've told us. The expiry for a key can be provided using the px argument to the set command. The expiry is provided in milliseconds. Okay. After the key has expired, a get command for that key should return a null bulk string. Okay, so we have to add support only just for this. And so this is where we were. Uh, how they will test our program. They'll run it, send a set command followed by a px argument. Okay, so we are parsing the set command and sending it over to our repository layer, right? No, we are just sending the key and val. So this method is being called in my service layer. So let's my service layer is this. Okay, here. Uh-huh. So my set command may have a px flag. So let's check if it does. So it will be at some index. I want to find the index of the px flag. Dot stream dot to list index of px. Okay, so the value for px flag will be -1 if there is no px flag, and it will be some other value if there is a px flag. So I can just check if my px flag is greater than -1. If it's greater than -1, then it will be followed by the number of milliseconds after which my value should expire, right? So let's get that. It should be at the next index. Okay, string. It will be a string, but it's essentially an integer, so I can just parse it. Let's call it delta integer dot parse int, and it will be command of px flag +1. Yeah, that will be the delta, and so now I know what the delta is, and after which my value should expire. Should I override a method in the repository layer? Yeah, I think I should. So this is a simple method, and it takes an int as well. Expiry milliseconds. Expiry milliseconds. Okay. So if it is, then I can do return store dot set of key is key, value is value, and delta. Else I can call the old set method. Now in my new overridden method, I need to implement support for this expiry. So value, it's being created at local date time dot now, and this is the expiry, right? So expiry should be local date time dot now plus the expiry. So what I'll do is I'll local date time now equals to this, and local date time dot exp equals to now plus in milliseconds. I need to add in milliseconds. How to add milliseconds to local date time dot now? I don't know. Let's Google. Okay. Plus nanos. Local date time dot plus 1 chrono unit. It's not delta, it's expiry. Yeah. So now my expiry time is calculated, and now that's when my value will be expired. Hmm. And when I get a value, I need to check if it has expired. How can I check that? I can check that. There must be methods. Yeah. Uh, I need a now time and get as well. And if hmm, if value dot expiry dot is before now, if that is the case, that means a value has expired. Can I then remove it from my map? Map dot remove key, and in this case I just need to return the null bulk string. Huh. Is that it? Is that really it? Is my code really clean? Okay, so I'm looking for the px flag. If there is a px flag, I'm calling the set method with the delta. If not, I'm calling the set method without the delta. In this case, it will be local date time dot max. That will be the expiry, and in this case, it will be local date time dot now plus the delta. Let's get in there. Let's check. Yeah, plus the delta, and I think that should be it. Let's try. Our master, and what's the stage name? The name of the stage is YZ1. Push. bit successfully, and now they're running the tests. Test run 2, program terminated successfully. Test passed, test passed. Alright, test passed. Hell yeah! Okay, so this stage was pretty easy. Uh, let's move on to the next one. Let's see what's required of us. So that completes the basic stages for the build your own Redis challenge. And after that, I am choosing to do replication, then transactions. That's something new that I haven't done before. Streams and RDB persistence. Technically, I should be doing RDB persistence first. Like that's the moat of Redis. But it's pretty simple. It's see, we have implemented a Redis parser, right? This RESP serializer. So the RDB requires another parser. So I have some logic here, and RDB parser is a different parser for a different format. So the format here for a bulk string is this, right? So in RDB files, the format is something else. So we need to implement a different parser for that. And honestly, that's pretty boring. We've already implemented a parser, and if you see any other CodeCrafter challenges, you'll see that almost all of their challenges require implementing a parser. Uh, and once you have done it once, it's pretty boring, to be honest. And like Kafka requires implementing the Kafka parser, BitTorrent requires implementing the BitTorrent parser, Git required parsing their own parser, the Git pack protocol. So yeah, RDB requires a different parser, and that's pretty boring to me, at least. So I'll look at that last. Let's go to the next stage. Okay, what is required from us here? Okay, so in replication, what we'll do is we are required to make our Redis server capable of connecting to master nodes and serve as a slave node as well. What a slave node does is it replicates the data from the master node. So any command, any write command that is given to a master is replicated down to all the slave nodes. And we cannot write to a slave node. We can only read from a slave node. Essentially, they are read replicas only, and all the writes are done to the master. So we need to add support for that. They'll run multiple instances of our program. One will be a slave, one will be a master. The slave will connect to the master via TCP connection, and all the write commands that are sent to a master node will be passed down to the read replicas as well, one by one. So we need to add support for that. And how they will configure my Redis server to listen on different ports, because my master node will be listening on a node, on a port, and my slave node cannot listen to the same port, right? So we have been hard coding the startup port for now, but instead we need to read that. Let me show you. Okay, so the start server, the start server, the port, we have hard coded the port value, right? So instead of hard coding this port value, we need to pass it the port value. And where will this port value come from? It will be in args. See, they'll test our code like so. So all these extra arguments will be passed in string args to our program, and we can read that and pass it down. So we'll do something similar. We'll similar to finding out the PX flag. I can stream and check if we have the port flag passed, and if we have, then the port should be the value next to it. Yeah. So arrays dot what I'll do is, because right now we're just being passing a single flag, but soon we'll add support for multiple flags. So let's just do this, and I can loop over it for I is less than args.length I plus plus, and if you actually want to check how it's being passed, you can see that here. So they call this file and pass the arguments to it. So the arguments are passed to my jar actually. Yeah. So let's come back to main, and if args of I dot equals, if it equals minus minus port, the port value will be args of I plus 1, and it's actually string, so I need to parse it. And I plus plus. All right. Why is it throwing error? Might not have been initialized. So the default value is 6379. That is the default value. So by default it will start on 6379, and if there is a port flag, if it's followed by an integer, I'm overriding the port value and passing it to my start server method. In case this flag is not followed by an integer, my Redis instance should obviously not start. And that will happen because we are trying to parse it, and that will crash the program. Let's try and push this as well. So I think it worked. Yeah, I did. All right, that was all that was required. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Should we write some unit tests for it? I only have test for the Resp serializer here. Did I not write integration tests for? Oh, yeah, that's pending. I'll do that next, in the next video. I'll write some integration tests because soon enough the code is going to get pretty complex, and it will start breaking old functionality, and we don't want that. So I should write some integration tests. Yeah, I'll do that in the next video. Yeah, definitely. I'll write more integration tests because that will enable us to use the debugger as well because it's pretty hard to debug with just print statements, especially because we're in a concurrent environment. If we were not in a concurrent environment, it'd be easy, but we are. So I'll write some integration tests for it. Anyways, I think that's enough for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.